Okay, here we go again. I was reviewing what I already recorded and things look good. So back to it. We have the beginning of our little acorn form and it's already looking acornish. So now that we ran out, we're going to grab another of those long thin pieces of core wool and just start again like you did before. Oops. Making sure my hands are centered. And you're going to hold the end of the piece, and then once again, you're simply going to wrap it as if it's a flat piece of tape. Now I'm going to I'm going to consciously hold it a little closer to the skewer because I could feel the fiber starting to slip apart and it was about to rip. And you'll notice I'm holding it right here. I'm really providing tension. Now, if I just wrap loosely, it's going to be like a fluffier final result, which is fine. A lot of beginning felters create really fluffy pieces, but less experienced felters like things to be kind of as dense and thick as possible. You know, and when you create a bottom form that's nice and dense with all this tension, really packing the wool on there, whatever you felt on top of it is gonna take easier, and you're gonna be able to add a lot more detail to your finished like detail elements, because basically what you put on top. Hi, Huckleberry. So if you think about like if I was going to really finish this and make this into an acorn. This is my cat Huckleberry saying hi. Looking for love as always. And you know, if I wanted to add brown to the top of this little form, which if you're gonna create a lot of things with wool, you're gonna make the base with this nice white core. It makes the best, densest form. And then later you can felt right into it, and you know, if this was a person's face, you'd be adding all those details. Or if you were felting a cat, or really anything. Okay, Huckleberry. All right, let's get off the table for now, bud. Okay, so I'm bringing my little felting pad under the camera to show you. Oh, I got broken needles there. To show you what you might want to do occasionally, especially since this is your first time making these kinds of forms. They might not hold together as well as mine because I have a lot of muscle memory for this. So you're going to want to take your felting needle and just poke it a little bit. And you can easily poke it without hitting the skewer in the middle, you'll find. And just poke it just a few times all over. You'll notice I started to concentrate on the tip because this felting needle is a marvelous molding tool. It allows you to further define and mold your shapes. So at this point, you're going to want that precious little acorn tip to look like a tip. Now I'm thinking what this needs is a little more wool added just up here at the top, just to make it kind of not a tip. We want this to look kind of the same width as it does here. So I'm going to finesse this. I'm going to take a piece. You can see it's only about maybe 6 inches, and it's pretty thin, but I'm going to go ahead and even make it thinner. Just splitting like so. And once again, holding that wool on there, and then gently, so you don't rip it, it's very thin, just kind of wrap it like a piece of tape. Like so. And finishing it off, back under the camera, sorry. Finishing it off by stretching it really thin. You always want the end to be really thin. And then it's pretty much on there. I mean, but if you're like me, you'll poke it just a few times. Look, don't poke it more than like 6 times. Just leave it like that. And then the top, while it's still on the skewer, turn it up like so, and then poke it down a wee bit, like just to flatten the top, blunt it out. This stuff up here is really wispy. It'll go right on into the form, as you can see. And I would say this is ready, especially if it was already brown. It would be ready to just simply wrap the cap at the top. And I think you were intimating an idea about maybe gluing this wool form right into a real acorn cap, and I think that would be really popping. I've seen them done like that. But if you want to make one with wool, just get a contrasting, just like a slight contrasting shade of brown. Maybe you can find something with some bumpy texture even. And I gotta say at this point, we might as well just slide it right off the skewer. Give it a few more pokes right there at the top. Watch your fingers. And then you're gonna apply that mushroom cap, listen to me. The weed was really good. The acorn cap right at the tip. Again, just wrapping it, keeping it flat, wrapping it until it's just like a little higher than the surface of the acorn. And go ahead and poke it a few times. Watch your fingers. Poke it on. Poke it as much as you need to. And then keep going, wrapping and poking until it's how you want it. You're the judge. Pull off any extra. You don't want it too bulky. Kind of smooth it. Sorry, my hands keep going out of frame. Just smooth it down and poke it some more. And then if this was a different color, you'd really be able to see the line. But you can further define the line just by turning your acorn and poking down on that fluffy edge until it's more a straight, defined sort of line. So it's not the most beautiful acorn, but I think I've showed you every skill except for the little stem. Those little caps most of the time have a stem. So for that, you're just going to wrap it on the skewer again. Take another piece of brown. It's going to be brown core. Take a really thin piece off. Just rip it off the edge. Oop, mine even broke. It's so thin. That's fine. You just need a tiny bit. And you're simply going to, just like I showed for the acorn, just wrap it, but thinner. See how small it can get? This would be really fiddly to do unless you have the right kind of wool. The carded, what they call sliver or top, it's far from ideal, and I wouldn't suggest a beginner do this process at all with that. Smooth it down. And honestly, I really don't need to poke this to make it stay. You can. I'll just poke it like 1, 2, 3 times. 4. It's good. It's going to be really good. And then you're going to slide it off. Now you've got this little thing with a wispy little point. Stick it right there in the middle of the acorn cap. You can kind of hold it with one finger. Now this is the part, obviously, watch out. Don't poke yourself. But just come right down. You're snagging the wool fibers from the stem and pushing them into the acorn cap. Turn it as you go and poke it from all sides. And if I was making a good acorn, I would just give it a few more pokes. But even just what I did, it's really on there already. See? So that's it. But I'd be glad to do a Zoom meeting with you too. And Hucky's going to say goodbye. If you want to do a little practice with me tomorrow, I'd be totally down for that. So, it's your little acorn. I hope you have success. I'll talk to you soon, Deanna. Bye.